Welcome back, folks, for another video on Hot September. Now, a week and a half ago, I posted a video on the Russian server giving out Hot September notices. And between that time and now, the European, Asian, as well as Chinese and obviously Russia server already had Hot September info notes out. And North America just had the Hot September notes out today. So it's the day before Hot September, it gave us the freaking mission details. So you almost had me going there, North America server. You almost had me. I almost got raged on, or become Hulk. Yes, you don't like to see me angry. But, alright, GG. So basically, we can see that the good thing is, it's between September 1st and October 8th instead of October 1st, I guess. So you actually have one more week out of it. So you have 38 days to complete this mission, which is pretty nice. But the main fact is, you're going to get a KV-220 and a Type 62 out of this two missions, because these two tanks are pretty rare. Now I'm gonna pop up the original Hot September video right now on the screen, so you can click on that to see the original details, but this video is not gonna be that different. However, I'm gonna put tips for how to play medium or light tanks within this video, whereas the original video just discussed what the event details were. So alright, so we can see that the mission details for the light tanks as well as medium tanks are pretty much the same as the Russian servers. I think almost the same. Yeah, pretty much almost the same. So the main problem I have is that you only get one premium day out of it for both the light tank missions as well as the medium tank missions, as well as base XP. So base XP means there's no premium time bonuses or other multipliers and stuff like that, so you must earn base amount of XP, so that's gonna suck. As well as you have to do the daily missions, the daily this mission 25 times in order to receive the KV-220 and / the Type 62. So yeah, that's gonna suck. But if you already have these one or both of these vehicles, you'll be rewarded with the gold that's for these two vehicles. The KV-220 will be cost around 1500. And the Type 62 will be around 3,000 or so, 3,300 or so. So, alright, so if you have these two tanks, you get compensated, obviously, but you don't have to do them. Now, in my opinion, the Type 62 is not really worth it as to say the KV-220, because the WZ-131 at tier 7, the same light tank or so, is much in all way better than the Type 62, other than money making capabilities. It has the same camo rating, better maneuverability, better power to weight ratio, I think better power to weight ratio, better gun, better accuracy, and the camo rating is probably the same. So yeah, it's pretty much the same. So Type 62 is it's, if you want to do it, you can't have it, obviously. It's a pretty rare tank, but the WZ-131 is clearly superior to this tank, whereas the KV-220 is actually more of a fun tank to play because it has 100mm of front and side armor, so it becomes like a KV Fortress at tier 5. The gun's crap though, but you can fire premium rounds. That's alright. So yeah, this tank is more unique, whereas the Type 62 is outclassed by the normal WZ-131. So alright, but here is the tips in order to get through to play these two tanks. So let's go with the tips. So here are the daily objectives in order to reach the KV-220. Now, in order to reach the KV-220, you need to play tier 5 or higher light tanks. Now, the first objective is to kill 5 tanks. So try to KS whenever you possibly can. But don't sacrifice your initial scouting positions for a KSing shot. Remember, you only need 5 kills per day, so use your best judgment whenever you can KS somebody, or if you want to remain hidden, and just go for the spotting damage. So just remember, you only need 5. 5 is not a lot, so you can always go for artillery in the end. Just don't give away your initial spotting locations. So tanks I recommend that's good at KSing is the ELC with a good 90mm cannon, the VK-2801 that has a derp cannon that would deal a lot of damage if it penetrates, or you can fire heat ammo, which deals 300 damage, so you can still KS with that thing. The WZ-131 as well as the WZ-132 Both of these tanks has a 100mm cannon, so they can KS pretty well. So they are both like medium tanks. So that's gonna deal for the KSing of the 5 tanks you need. Now you also need to do 12,000 damage per day, so that's kind of hard for a light tank. So always go for soft targets that you know you can penetrate, such as Waffenträgers for the Germans. French tank has pretty weak armor, as well as American side and rear armor. Most tanks for the Americans have crappy side and rear armor, so those are the tanks you want to go for and deal a lot of damage. Now don't worry about maximizing your damage per shot because you're in a light tank, and most light tanks have small caliber guns that reloads pretty quick, unless you're playing with auto-loading cannons. So most of the time, don't worry about maximizing your damage per shot output. Just go for the damage. Now, if it's a city map, try to flank with medium tanks, because when you're doing spotting in city maps, artillery cannot hit most of the targets in city maps, as well as tank destroyers, because buildings are blocking the way. So scouting in city maps are generally pointless most of the time. So try to go flanking with medium tanks, or wolf packing if you will. So tanks are good at dealing a lot of damage will be burst damage tanks, such as the Tier 7 American light tank, the T-71, or the Tier 6 and above French light tanks, the AMX-12T, AMX-1390, or AMX-1375. So they're good, but not a lot of people realize the Crusader is also considered as a light tank. Now Crusader will not get scout matchmaking, you only see up to Tier 7, and this thing is counted as a medium tank, so it has a medium tank's matchmaking, if you will. But the Crusader can pump out a lot of shots with that 57mm rapid firing cannon, so the Crusader is a very good choice at pumping out damage at low tiers. So Crusader is a good tank. Now you also have to do spotting damage of 12,000. So that sounded weird. 12,000. So you have to do 12,000 spotting damage. So try to hide in key bushes and do mostly passive scouting for the damages of spotting. Now active scouting is kind of dangerous, but you can still do active scouting and peekaboo scouting with hills or cover. So just be careful when you're doing active scouting. Shooting the tracks or drive wheels for tracking damage also works for spotting damage. So whenever you have a chance, try to detract somebody and have your teammates shoot at them. So that's a good part if you want to play with wolf packing mediums. So be aware of that. The Chafee, the MT-25 or any other light tanks are good with passive scouting, but the MT-25 is very good with active scouting because it has 27 specific power, so this tank can shift when you're doing active scouting. Also with the Chinese WZ tanks are very good with mobility and whatnot. But you also have to earn 12,500 XP, base XP per day. That means it's not counted with premium time bonuses or any other modifiers. So try to stay alive as long as you possibly can. Initial suicide is a bad idea because you do not get enough experience per game and you just wasted your tank and have to wait for another tank. So try to stay alive and do a lot of passive scouting if you can. Now do active scouting when needed and take courage pills when you are required to do, so you don't draw out and everybody become a camp fest. So try to stay alive. Take breaks when you need, but don't go AFK in the middle of a game. That's bad for your team as well as your reputation. So take breaks when you're needed. So originally I planned on showing you all the key initial spotting locations as well as the best bush placements on every map in the game. But then I realized there are a lot of fucking maps in the game. So yeah, that's too hard for me to do. But just ask me on YouTube or within the game, if I'm online. Just ask me about which map and where to go and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of fucking maps. But here are the daily objectives for the Type 62. Now you need to play a tier 6 or higher medium tank for these objectives. The first one is to kill 25 tanks. Now medium tanks are supposed to deal damage or flank around, so killing tanks shouldn't be a big of a problem. You have enough ammunition to help with that, obviously. But kill steal if possible, obviously. Artillery and light tanks have no HP, so go for them first if you can. flank heavy tanks and tank destroyers, because you do not want to take on heavy tanks and tank destroyers face on and dish out damage and trade shots. So try to flank around. You also have to deal 20,000 damage within 1 day, so that's kind of a lot in my opinion. Higher tier medium tanks have more damage, obviously, so try to play higher tiers mediums if you can, but if you don't have a higher tier, don't worry about it. Russian/Chinese mediums have a higher damage at tier 6 and 7 than their British and American counterparts. So the Russians and the Chinese were using 85mm cannons, whereas the British and Americans were using the 76mm cannon. So Russians and Chinese have more damage at low tier or medium tiers. Here are the general comparisons with all the medium tanks. So the Germans have above average accuracy and penetration, but lacks mobility, obviously. The Japanese have decent guns, but no armor. The British and Americans have good gun depression and mantlet, but very big hull with no armor on it. So yeah. American and French autoloaders have high burst damage, but no armor and a long reload, so that's gonna suck. Russians and Chinese have good armor, but no gun depression and subpar accuracy. So that's a general comparison between all the medium tanks, and they're most of their representations within the game. So here are the best DPM per tier at 6 above, I guess. So at tier 6, the Cromwell has 2,166, which is very good. At tier 7 is the Comet with 2,246, with very good gun depression, I might add. So at tier 8, we have the Object 416 with 2,503. So that's pretty good. Frying Pan. At tier 9, we have two choices. The first one is the M46 Patton with 2,624. But if you want armor on that, you can use the T-54 with 2,567. So these both are about the same. So one has very good gun depression and turret armor. One has very good all-around armor, but no gun depression. So you get to choose. And at tier 10, we have the STB-1, which has 3,050. But the STB has very good, very bad gun dispersion. So it's not as accurate as you might think. But it has very high DPM, so you can just flank around and derp shots. So that's alright. Also, you have to earn 13,500 XP per day. So you really need to know how to play medium tanks, in my opinion. Try to flank, outmaneuver, or kite enemies if you can. Flanking will will help you kill heavy tanks and prevent your heavy tanks from taking a lot of damage. So try to flank around if you can. Outmaneuver is mostly against fixed mounted tank destroyers, heavy tanks also, but also with other medium tanks if they're slow, such as the E50s or Panther 2s or stuff like that. So try to outmaneuver other people, or kite enemies. That's with fast medium tanks. So basically you can just take a shot, and if they're chasing you, just drive away around a corner. If they drive another corner, just keep kiting them around a building or stuff like that. So try to kite enemies. Also, try to stay alive. The more you stay alive, the more XP you're going to get. So try to stay alive as well. And use the tank strength and try to hide the weaknesses. So for example, when you playing the Cromwell, this tank has no armor, but it is very mobile for a medium tank. It is almost light tank in mobility, so just try to zigzag around and try to dodge shots. So if you're playing the Comet has very good turret armor. The gunman is pretty trollish and very good gun depression. So try to go hull down most of the time. So you see where I'm going with this. So try to use the tank strength and hide the weaknesses to stay alive all the time. So in my opinion, this mission is kind of difficult because you have to get 26,000 XP per day if you want both tanks, which is pretty nuts. Or also you have to deal 32,000 damage per day. Ooh, that's kind of rough. But it's only 25 days out of the 38 days, so I don't know. But still, it's rough. But I think the two tanks are worth it because they're very rare. But yeah, it's kind of rough. Yeah, very rough. It is hard to make general comments between all the medium tanks and all the light tanks, or general similarities between all the mediums and all the light tanks, because they don't all play the same. So I cannot tell you all the general information as I can, but if you want to look at all my tank reviews, I have a lot of tank reviews on mediums as well as light tanks. So click on my tank reviews playlist, and there's a lot of tanks I review, such as the AMX 1375, which is a good light tank to play for this missions, or the Panther. What the hell is my Panther? Yep. So you can go through the list, such as I also play the WZ-131. You can check that out. The Cheery, which is a medium tank. The T-71. The T-34-1. So I play a lot of tanks to help you guys out. But if you're gonna read or watch over these videos, you can get a general sense of how you should play medium tanks or light tanks or whatnot. So I'll try to help you guys as much as possible by posting more tank reviews soon. But I have enough tank reviews already, so you can look through these to see how you should play mediums or light tanks. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and good luck to you guys with this mission. So it's kind of rough. It is kind of rough, in my opinion. Holy shit. Ooh, 27 or 26,000 XP per day. That's the base XP too. So, ooh, that's kind of rough. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and comment below if you have questions or any stuff concerning this event, because it is kind of rough. Other than that, please rate this video or like it or stuff like that. But that kind of helps me out. So if you also like what you saw, subscribe to my channel, because I do a lot of these tip videos. I did one for the T-34, the Tier 8 free premium American heavy tank back in May. So I always do these tip videos for funsies, I guess. But other than that, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.